everybody. Namaste and welcome. We're gonna get started in a seated position today. So you can go ahead and find your way there. Cross legs is great if possible. We can kind of take a moment to scooch around and find those sit bones so that we can really anchor them, root them into our mat. And from there, we might think about getting a little taller, letting the spine just kind of gently lift and lengthen. Bringing our palms to our lap, our knees, anywhere they feel comfortable. And let's just start to tune into our breathing. So how about a nice, big, full inhale through the nose, sipping in that air all the way to the top. And then how about a sigh out the mouth? And you might take a couple more like that. Just big, full breath in. Releasing out the mouth. And when you feel ready, you can start to guide that breath in through the nose and out through the nose. And we'll just spend a couple of rounds just kind of developing our relationship with our breath. And making a commitment, making an internal commitment to maintaining our breath as we move and stretch our bodies today, letting that be the top priority, our connection to our breath. And as soon as we notice, which we likely will, that we've lost that connection, no big deal, it's nothing to fret about. We're just going to guide our attention right back, and that is really the essence of a yoga practice. So let's keep it flowing as we start to move a little bit. We're going to bring our fingertips to our shoulders. So elbows can come out to the side. And one at a time, let's start to kind of kayak circle those arms. So we can kind of dip over to the left, sweep that right elbow forward, up, and all the way back, as big of a circle as we can make. And then we can do the same thing on the other side. We'll lean to the right, sweep that elbow in a big giant circle. And let's just take a few side to side. Again, we're continuing to breathe. Such a nice way to just kind of wake up the entire spine, right? We feel the side body working, gentle back bend, nice stretch in the chest and shoulders as well. So just a few more, just like that. Just to kind of get some breath and blood flowing. Head and neck are free to just kind of move any way that feels natural. Beautiful. Just a couple more. And then we can let those arms go. We can maybe reach out to the side. Big breath in. Let's lift the chin and chest. And on our exhale, how about we wrap our arms around ourselves, reaching for your shoulder blades as we tuck chin to chest and round through the spine. If you like that, nice big breath in. Lifting our face, lifting our chest, dropping the head back, and then exhale to round. So there might be a feeling that we're kind of rocking back and forth on those sit bones. And let's see if we can maybe each round take the opposite arm on top. That's like a nice brain exercise as well as an exercise for our body. So yeah, it's the essence of a cat-cow here. And as we take a few more, settling into our practice still, we might just check in with ourselves and just make note of how we're feeling today, right? So that might mean, how am I feeling in my body? We're always going to show up a little different, right? We're literally always changing every second. So it's worth checking in, like, okay, how does my body feel today? And as we take these last couple, we might also just kind of make a mental note of how we are feeling in our emotions today, right? What kind of thoughts and energy and feelings are present there? We're not judging it or making them good or bad or right and wrong. We're just taking inventory of what we're showing up with so that we can move accordingly, right? We can move with that awareness. Let's do one more. Nice big squeeze. Beautiful. And then we're gonna inhale, stretch those arms out to the side one more time. And if possible, let's wrap that left arm around our low back. And we're gonna take that right arm up and overhead. So pausing in the side bend. Thinking about rooting both of those sit bones down equally, thinking about relaxing our right shoulder away from our ear. And again, our head and neck can move. Sometimes it's really nice to kind of turn through the chin up and down. Just like we would move maybe a little differently if we were having, I don't know, lower back pain or something coming up today. That might inform how we move in our practice, right? How about one more inhale? Exhaling a little bit more into that side bend, and then we're gonna let this evolve into a twist. We'll take that lifted right hand and bring it to our left knee, left thigh. We can keep that arm wrapped around the low back if that works for us, and if not, we can always bring those fingertips behind us for a little more support. Sitting up nice and tall. Exhaling maybe a little bit more into the twist every round of breath. And how we're feeling today, more from an emotional standpoint, might also inform and guide the way that we move in our practice today as well. So remembering that breath, let's just take one more round here, all the way in, all the way out. And then like a reverse cartwheel, let's unwind those arms. We're gonna lift them up to the sky. Let's pause here for a moment. Again, lifting the chin. Plugging those shoulders down into their sockets. Let's see if we can switch the cross of the legs. Maybe we can bring the opposite one in front. Usually it's the one that feels a little more awkward. And then from here, that right arm is gonna wrap around the low back as we tilt to the right, left arm up overhead. So same thing, we can take any movements. Maybe it's a circle of the wrist, right? Or a turn of the head. And yoga really teaches us, the yoga philosophy teaches that human beings have three different equipments. Three equipments that are designed to help us navigate and experience our life. So we have three different tools. One tool is the body. Let's take one more breath here, right? That's our home for while we're here. Got a body to carry us around. Letting this evolve into the twist, our left hand will come to our right knee, and we can keep that wrapper. Again, release the fingertips. Our second equipment is what they call our intellect, right? So that's our voice of reason, we can think of it as. It's that logical, wise part of our mind that all of us have. And the third equipment, you guessed it, is our emotions. Our emotions are a tool. Again, it's a really important part of being human that is meant to help us navigate life. And I don't know about you, but sometimes it feels like my emotions are not always helpful, right? Let's take one more breath. And then we can release that, come through center. Maybe we shake out the arms a little bit, shrug the shoulders. And we're gonna transition at this point to a tabletop. So we're gonna find hands and knees. I'm gonna turn to the side. And we can bring those palms under our shoulders and the knees about hips width apart. And let's just take a couple cats and cows here. Let's inhale, drop the belly, lift the face. And exhale to round, pressing into our palms, straightening those arms. And we'll just take a few back and forth, just to the rhythm of your own breath. And I think like any equipment, right? Like any piece of equipment, if we don't know how to use it, if we don't know how to properly operate that equipment, it's not going to work for us. It's not going to work as effectively, if at all. And if we don't know how to operate a piece of equipment, it can be dangerous even. It can be harmful to us. It can be harmful to other people. Amazing. Let's just take just a couple more here. Beautiful. Last one. We'll find that neutral table. Maybe maybe we swing the hips from side to side a little bit, gazing off one shoulder and then the other. And then from here, we're going to extend that left leg behind us. So let's tuck those toes for now. And we might just take a moment to kind of rock back and forth on the ball of that foot, just giving that left leg a nice stretch. Nice. And then we'll find more of that neutral base, bringing our attention to our left palm as we inhale and peel our right arm up to the sky. So we're in a little extended table twist. And same thing, we might circle around through that right wrist. We can always make some circles with that whole arm. My favorite is to wrap my right arm around my low back. Something about that really just helps me open up a little bit more through the heart. Couple more nice big breaths here. Next breath in, let's go ahead and lift that right arm back up to the sky if it's not already. And we're just gonna switch directions. We're gonna exhale, release that right palm down. So we're back where we started, right? And this time we're gonna spin the back foot flat. And I like to take my right shin and kind of spin it behind me, almost like a little picture frame kickstand. And we're gonna switch hands. We're gonna inhale the left arm to the sky now. So we're pressing into the outer edge of that back foot, the pinky toe side. Foot is flat, it's at a diagonal, and again, we're thinking about opening our heart to the ceiling. So same options, right? We can feel free to move around through the arm, the head, the wrist. Some of us might want to see what it's like to float that back foot, right? We can extend through that leg and let it float in space. And it might just be like a little bounce, right? We can always bring it right back down. We can just kind of play with that edge of where is my balance today, right? How can I kind of walk that line? Amazing. Last option here. I'm just going to keep throwing out options. You don't have to take them. We might even bend that left leg and see if we can catch our foot or our toe or our ankle. And from there, we might kick our foot, a strong leg into our hand just to open into a little back bend. We can lean back, lift the chin. Beautiful. How about one more breath in? You got this. And we can exhale, release everything back down. Once again, we're taking that left arm to the sky, pivoting that back foot flat. And let's bring that left hand to our left hip. Maybe tucking the toes of that right foot. And we're gonna see if we can press ourselves, using the core all the way up to kneeling. We're in a gate pose here, they call this. So we're still pressing into that pinky toe side of the left leg, but our torso is lifted. We're sitting up nice and tall. And from here, let's extend those arms out to the side. And then slide the left fingertips down that left leg. Another side bend here, right arm up overhead. So how do we properly use and manage and operate our emotions, right? How can we use them for constructive purposes rather than destructive? Lots of different ways. Beautiful. How about one more inhale? On our exhale, maybe we can lean a little bit more into that side bend. And then big move here. Are you ready? That left foot. We're going to see if we can spin those toes as we bend that left knee to face the back of our mat, right? We can bring our hands down or maybe to that thigh to spin our shin back in. And suddenly we are facing the opposite way and we're in a lunge. Well done, everybody. Did you make it? It's a little twisty. And from here, hands are framing that left foot, right? Back toes can be tucked or not. We're just gonna do a little rock back and forth where on an inhale, we'll shift those hips back, start to straighten out a little or a lot through that left leg. Toes might lift. And exhale, we're gonna rock back into that lunge. Lift the chest, lift the chin. So we'll just find that little rock here, back and forth. Remembering to breathe, right? Remembering that priority of breath. It doesn't matter what this looks like. Let's pay more attention to how it feels. And speaking of paying attention, right? That's kind of step one. I think like with so many things, just by taking a moment to name our emotions or put some words to how we're actually feeling is a really important place to start. And sometimes it's hard, right? Sometimes it's kind of hard to know exactly what we're feeling. And it might take a little thought, a little time to really get clear on that. Can I just let myself notice however I'm feeling without trying to stuff it down or wish it away or label it, right? Good or bad? Can I just like witness the feeling and notice it and acknowledge it as a place to start? Beautiful. One more time, we're gonna shift back. Let's hold here for just another moment or two, a little extra stretch in that left hamstring. And what naming the feeling does for me at least is it helps me create like a little healthy distance. Sometimes our feelings feel like they are right on top of us, in our face. We get caught up and identified with them. And that is really overwhelming, you know? And so to take a moment to just notice the feeling allows me to look at it from a little bit of a distance. And that alone can lessen some of the intensity. It might not take it all the way away, but it lessens that charge a little bit. Beautiful. Let's take one more breath here. Maybe we can straighten out that front leg just a little bit more. Gorgeous. And then inhaling back into that lunge. We're going to bend back into that left knee. Grounding down through the right palm. Inhaling left arm to the sky. We're in a twist. That back knee is down and we're spinning our heart open towards the ceiling. And we're breathing. Core is engaged, right? We're drawing those belly muscles in for support. I'm just gonna give all kinds of options because everyone's feeling different in their body today and everyone might need something a little bit different. So no pressure to take any of these things. There's a world in which you might bend that back foot again, right? Bend that back knee and see if we can grab a foot rather. So this will be a nice juicy quad stretch for that right leg. And again, you can take it or leave it, right? Totally optional. Breathing is not optional. Let's make sure we're doing that. Yeah, how about one more inhale? Can we open that heart up a little bit more? And then we'll release that foot if we've got it. We'll let the hands frame that left foot once again. And let's see if we can slide that left foot back. We've made it back to our home base. We're in that table pose. Let's open the knees a little bit wider. Bring those big toes to touch behind us. And start to find a child's pose. We'll sit on the heels. Stretch those arms out in front of us. Rest the forehead if possible. And if the booty's like more up in the air, that is totally fine, right? Finding a position that feels restful. And just coming back to that breath. And this is a really good opportunity to check in again. All right, how am I feeling in my body now after a little bit of time? Maybe my emotions have shifted to a different place, right? We're always kind of shifting and changing. And so to check in with ourselves on a regular basis is part of the journey of self-awareness, right? We're always taking time to attune to where we're at. Again, so that we can use that information. Beautiful. Let's just take 3 more breaths before we take that little journey on the other side. At least we kind of know what's coming now. That can help too. whenever it is we complete that third exhale or so, we can use an in-breath to rise back up. We're gonna adjust ourselves back to that table pose. We're facing the opposite side that we did before. And we're just gonna dive right in. We'll start by just extending that right leg behind us. So the toes stay tucked for now. And we might again find that little rock back and forth. Let's see if we can really stay in one breath at a time, one pose at a time, even if we kind of know what's coming, right? We're just gonna stay right at this one, not worrying about what's to come yet. So now that I know, okay, this is how I'm feeling, right? This is fear that I'm feeling, or this is frustration or disappointment or happiness, whatever the feeling is. All right, now that I'm aware, what do I do with that awareness? I think our emotions can be really, really powerful messengers. They can be teachers if we let them. Let's inhale, float that. Oh no, excuse me. So sorry, I robbed us of the twist. We're gonna keep that right leg extended. And we're gonna inhale, left arm to the sky. So we're in that little twist, right? We might circle that arm or wrist, right? We can always take that wrap. And it's really interesting. So often when we're having a feeling, I think especially a hard feeling, we make it about somebody else, right? We blame, you did this, that's why I feel this way, right? It's your fault that I feel this way. And a really interesting way to look at our feelings as an alternative is asking the question, what does this emotion that I'm having tell me about myself? Rather than making it about somebody else, what can I learn about me as a result of this feeling? Beautiful. One more inhale wherever we're at. Oh, maybe opening that chest a little bit more. And then we're just gonna switch directions, right? We're gonna exhale that left palm down. And we're gonna spin that back foot flat. So we're pressing into the pinky toe side. That left shin this time might spin behind us as a little kickstand of support. And we're gonna inhale our right arm to the sky. So again, there's always options to move around if we want to. We can always choose stillness. Sometimes that's really nice too. So if we, get really frustrated about seeing someone being rude to like a server, let's say. Maybe you're at a restaurant and it really upsets you when you see someone treating someone with rudeness. Rather than going, wow, that person's an asshole. Maybe we ask the question, all right, what is that telling me about me that this is bothering me so much? We might choose to see what it's like to float that back leg if we haven't already, right? And again, we can kind of play with it. We can bounce in and out using a strong core for support. Maybe we even catch that bind. Our feelings can tell us so much about our values, right? What matters to us, what's really important, what we care about. We can learn so much if we choose to let our feelings be teachers and messengers. Oh yeah, how about one more inhale? You guys are doing amazing. And then we can release. Release that bind. And we're gonna see as we come down, right, we're back in that home base, right leg behind us, both hands down. See if we can step that right foot forward. Nope, I made a mistake. We're gonna rise on up, right? So we released that foot, maybe you caught that. Our right arm is up to the sky. We're gonna let those right fingertips find our right hip. And we're gonna press into that right foot as we core ourselves up. That's a new verb I just invented, to core yourself. I was like, how are we gonna get back to the other side of the mat? I got confused. And then those arms open to the side, and we release down into that gorgeous side bend. And it doesn't just have to be hard feelings, right? I think we can learn so much based on what brings us joy, right? What makes us feel really light, what makes us feel alive and connected and inspired. Those are really important messages to make note of as well. When do I feel most at ease? When do I feel most like myself? How can I maybe do more of that in my life or integrate that more often? Beautiful, yes. Can we enjoy one more breath? Maybe we sink a little bit more in that side bend. Oh yeah, and then this is how we're gonna get to the other side. We're gonna spin those right toes towards the top short edge of that mat, right? We're gonna start to bend into that knee as we spin our back shin in behind us. There we go. Now our hands are framing that right foot. We're in that lunge. Back toes can be tucked or not. And we're gonna find that little rock. We're gonna inhale, shift back. And exhale, find that lunge. Lift the chest, lift the chin. And just move with your own breath. Just a few rounds. Maybe an intense feeling in your right hamstring is telling us that, wow, I maybe need to stretch my hamstring more. I just have tight hamstrings. I sit a lot, right? That can be a messenger too, physical sensation. Wow, I'm clenching my jaw. I find it hard to smile in this pose. Beautiful energy. I can feel it through the screen. And the next time we shift back into that straight or straight-ish right leg, let's pause there. Let's enjoy a few extra breaths. Our emotions are really just energy, right? Everything in life is energy. Energetic power, energetic currency. And so we can notice our emotions, we can gather data about ourselves based on those emotions, and then we can ask ourselves, okay, what am I gonna do with this energetic currency that is flowing through me, right? Energy is the power to act upon it. We're gonna do something with that energy. Beautiful, let's take one more breath. Sinking into that exhale, maybe a little bit more gorgeous. And then we're gonna bend back into that right knee. We're gonna ground through the left palm and find that twist, right arm to the sky. So it is always a choice we can make to use that energy to, I don't know, explode, self-destruct, do harm, right? If we just react blindly with our emotions, throw that energy heedlessly all over the place. I've certainly done that. Who hasn't, right? In a reactive moment, done something or said something they wish they did. Maybe we catch that bind if it's there, just an option, right? And we always have a choice with what we do with it. So maybe we choose to channel that energy into something a little more productive. If we get really upset at something happening in the world, very fairly so, right? Me sitting in my feelings and being consumed by them, falling into despair, let's say, is that gonna help the situation? Is that gonna help me or anybody else? Probably not. It's like, okay, how can I channel this really intense feeling I have into something productive, into something good, taking an action, right? Doing something with it. Amazing, one more breath. Oh, and then we can release it down. You guys did so good, we made it. We're gonna slide. Sometimes it feels like I need a crane to slide my right foot back. And we're gonna open those knees and one more time sit on our heels or in that direction, right? And find our child's pose. If we can, rest the forehead, let's do that. Maybe we channel our feelings into empathy, right? We can channel them into developing more understanding and compassion. Just a couple more breaths, and then we're gonna transition out. We're gonna close out. We already made it to the little final closing arc of our practice. So when we're ready, we'll simply press into those palms and start to lift ourselves up. And we can either just rock over those ankles or swing the feet to one side to find ourselves sitting on our mat, knees bent in front of us, and we might grab onto the shins or the thighs, or just bring those arms behind us and start to slowly, gently lower down. Beautiful. We made it to lying on our back. When we get there, let's squeeze our knees into our chest, give ourselves a big hug. We can point and flex the feet a little bit, wiggle the toes, circle the ankles. And then let's open our arms out to the side. If you have room, which I don't, you might open the arms wide like a T, or we can always make a goalpost, kind of cactus shape. And let's just let those knees fall over to the left. We might scooch our hips a little bit more to the right, turning our head to the right if possible. Sometimes I like to grab on to my legs with my left hand just to kind of help them anchor down. Just enjoying a spinal twist. Maybe if nothing else, we channel our emotions into a little bit of gratitude. Because to feel anything at all means we're alive, and like what a gift that is. Just to be able to feel as a human being. And if we're alive, we get another chance. We have another day to show up, to work on ourselves, to give our best, to be of service. Beautiful. Just a couple more breaths. Let's see how much we can soften here. Again, maybe doing a little scan head to toe. Just noticing if there's any tension or anything that's gripping. And then in our own time, we can start to make our way to the other side. We can let those knees rise up through center, maybe scooching those hips a little over to the left. Letting knees stack on over to the right, and we might this time grab on with our right hand, gazing to the left. And if gratitude is even too much to ask, if we just can't quite reach that in a moment that we're in, we can always trust and know that our feelings are gonna pass, right? Everything is temporary. Everything is fleeting. no emotion stays forever, not even the good ones, right? So we can just know and surrender to whatever feeling we're having, knowing it's going to change. Staying with that deep breath, just these final moments here. We're so close to the end. Let's see if we can really stay with ourselves, stay with any feeling. Maybe we can even look back on our practice and notice, wow, I went through so many different emotions just in about a half an hour. Beautiful. We can drink up a final breath or two here. And there's really nothing left to do but seal it all up with some rest so we can rock back over onto our back. Maybe one more squeeze of those knees into our chest. I like to lift my head, really squeeze everything in tight. You might even squeeze your face, your fingers, or your toes. One more nice big juicy breath in. And then exhale, sigh it all out. Extend long on your mat. Find a comfortable position to just fully relax and rest, integrating your practice. Slowly start to invite our attention back to this moment. We might drink up a bigger breath. We can add some gentle movement to our body as well, taking your time, maybe just wiggling fingers and toes. Stretch through the wrists and ankles. I love to take a nice big stretch with arms up overhead, like when we first get up in the morning. Just everything long, fingers and toes. Oh, and then we might rock over onto one side and just kind of pause. Again, no rush. Whenever we feel ready, we can use our arms, our hands to support us, to making our way back up to a seat. Just like when we started, and we'll bring those hands to touch in front of our heart. We might make a note of anything that's shifted. And we can use this moment if we want to commit to practicing, managing our emotions in a constructive way. Maybe for the rest of the day, or maybe even longer. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Such a pleasure to be with you. And with that, I say namaste. Thank you, thank you. See you next time.